Welcome to this first episode of my devlog series about my minimalist survival city builder game. In Lueur, you will establish several cities and ensure a survival against many dangers. The game plays in semi-real time on a classic squared grid. As you might have guessed from the intro, it is set up in a medieval fantasy world filled with chivalry and magic. In this first video, I will talk about how the game is born, what influenced its creation, and what are the game's core ideas and mechanics. I got a video game school degree in France and worked for 3 years at Ubisoft on the Ghost Recon and Assassin's Creed franchise. I left 1 year ago to make my own games and become a solo indie game developer. I created a first very small game called Last in Space. It was an arcade strategy shmup with strong retro vibes. I did not win millions, but it paid the bills and that's already great for a first game. I quickly moved on to Lueur after that. I am strongly fueled by 4X and other city builder games like Civilization, Endless Legend, Frostpunk, and many others. A small game called The Settlers inspired the idea the most though. It is an experimental, very minimalist city builder with no specific goal other than discovering what you can actually do and build something cool. This idea stuck with me and became an essential part of Lueur. Most things are not told. You discover by yourself while playing. The first version of the game was made during the lowest jam. It is a competition where you have 2 weeks to create a game within a 64x64 resolution. That's very small. At the time, I just thought it would be fun to try and create a city builder in such a tiny resolution. It was incredibly challenging, but it planted the seeds for what would become Lueur. The game received good reviews, and I decided to work a few more months to make a small commercial game out of it. While developing it though, I realized I could do something more important with it, and decided to scale up the scope of the game. What do I want to accomplish with Lueur? I want the game to be minimalist, meaning I want to find the least amount of things needed to build the experience I'm looking for. But we'll talk more about this in a sec. The game must be intuitive, easy to understand. Easy enough to be able to play it even without a tutorial, which is a pretty rare thing in city builder or any kind of strategy games really. It should also be playable with a gamepad or handheld console with a small screen. I really want people to be able to chill wherever they want while playing Lueur. The game is cozy and relaxing during the building phases, but will still be a bit challenging with its survival aspect. Finally, a Lueur game session should be about the length of a Netflix episode. The player will go from nothing to a big city in one sitting. The idea is to be different from other city builders that takes hours to be finished. I'm sure you already abandoned the game before because you got bored, because you came back and did not remember anything, or maybe just because starting over from nothing is the funniest part. In Lueur, you won't build only one city. The game is made of several levels, each one with its own story and challenges. Let me explain a little bit more what I mean by minimalist game. Minimalism is a way of life. It can be interpreted in different ways. But for me, it's about removing anything unnecessary from your life. Each thing you do or own must have a clear purpose and ultimately provide you with happiness. It really helped me during a time of depression and left a strong imprint on me that I really want to use in my games. So when I want to make a minimalist game, I don't imply to make an abstract game with geometry shapes as visuals. It is about finding the minimal amount of stuff needed to get the experience I wish to deliver. The smaller amounts of mechanics needed, the smaller amount of visual details needed, the smaller amount of information on screen needed, and so on and so forth. The game is done not when there is nothing more to add, but when there is nothing left to remove. Chess or Go are extreme examples of minimalist games. But I need to be very careful that minimalism does not make the game harder to understand. I might not be able to keep everything minimal, but I think it's an important mindset to have. Let's quickly describe everything you can do in the game. Of course, you will primarily build structures, but you can't just build them randomly. You want to understand how to build specific buildings on specific terrains, how buildings work and interact with the world, how to make their production as efficient as possible in the tight space you have. You can also interact with the game world directly. Chop down the forest to collect materials and make room for more buildings. Find a treasure and enjoy its reward, or destroy a gigantic obsidian monolith. Some of these actions are actually done by playing small mini-games, just like you would do in farming sims like Stardew Valley, for example. In Lueur, space is scarce. The world is plunged into darkness, and to make more room, you need to explore and illuminate the land using your limited light resource. Darkness is also the first way you can lose. If your main camp is washed away by a darkness storm, it's game over, so be careful. Sometimes random events will happen in your land. It can happen anytime, and we usually ask you to make strategic and tough moral choices to be able to survive. Thank you for watching till the end. In the next episodes, I will focus on more specific subjects, like the balancing of the game, how I added story into the game, how I marketed the game, and tons of cool stuff like that. Make sure to be subscribed and that you activated the notification bell to not miss the next video. Also, let me know what you think in the comments. If you're interested in following along the development each week, you can take a look at my weekly updates. If you'd like to support me, there is a link to my coffee in the description. See you next time!